Last time, when we did symbolic logic, we were talking about relational predicates and overlapping quantifiers, and that introduced new ways to translate sentences. And these new translations, in my opinion, are complicated. I don't think that there's something that you can just expect to understand immediately and jump right into. And if I start translating sentences, you'll be able to, or anybody will be able to keep up with it. So that's why today, what we're going to do is just do some translation exercises, get used to understanding these sentences in English and then the symbolic representation of them. Because once we're used to that, then we can move on, then we can continue to build upon what we're learning. But if we don't understand these translations, we can't do anything. So with that said, let's just take it easy. I think we have 6 examples and we're just going to do some exercises. So we have everyone loves someone. And last time when we did this, it was super simple because what we did was we restricted our universal and our existential quantifier to the universe of people. So we didn't have to specify that our variables would be people. That was just for the sake of simplicity. Like I said back then, we don't always do that. So what we're going to do is do that now. So if you say that everyone loves someone, how you have to kind of translate this in your mind into our lingo for symbolic logic, and then we do the actual symbols for them. So everyone loves somebody. To me, that means, okay, then for all x, if x is a person, then there would exist a y where y is a person and x loves them. So that's kind of my train of thought. Now we have to think about how to put that into symbols. But luckily, I kind of said it out loud. It's as if I read the symbols out loud. I said, for all x, so this is going to be our for everyone, for all x, if x is a person, then there exists a y such that y is a person, and that's what our p will mean is a person. Y is a person, and x loves y. So we'll write L X, Y. And that's our translation. So notice how I went from the English, just everyone loves somebody, to thinking about it like, okay, for all X, they must be a person, then there exists another person that they love. I started speaking like that, and then I figured out how to write that symbolically. That's kind of the mental process I go through, and I would recommend going through when you're doing these translations. So let's look at our next example. Any strong person can defeat any weak person. Okay, so this is saying for all x, if x is a person and x is strong, then I would say then maybe for all y, if y is a person and y is weak, then x can defeat y. That makes sense to me. So we got to define that x is a person and strong. We have to say that y is a person and strong. Then x will defeat them. So let's do that with our symbols. So for all x, if x is a person, so x is a person, and we'll say if x is strong, we'll put an s. So if x is a person and x is strong, then I want to say they can defeat any weak person, but now I have to define what a weak person is. So I'll say, then for all y, if y is a person and y is weak, then x can defeat y. So we'll put d, x, y. And now what we have to do is make sure our parentheses make sense. So I think what we would like to do is add an extra set of parentheses right here and close that all up. And then I think we have to close our first parentheses in the beginning, right? Right? Yeah, we do. And there we go. Okay, we just got to make sure our parentheses are all closed. So this is saying for all x, if x is a person and they are strong, then for all y, if y is a person and weak, x will defeat y. Any strong person can defeat any weak person. Now let's look at anyone who loves someone is loved for himself. Okay, so I have to define that If I say for all X is a person and they love someone, so I'd say that there exists a Y such that X loves Y. So it's kind of like our first example. And then we also have to include that they're loved for themselves. So that means that there must exist another variable, say Z, such that Z loves X. Okay, so now let's put that into symbols. So I want to say for all X, open up some parentheses, for all X is a person, anyone who loves somebody. So if X is a person and there exists a Y such that Y is a person and X loves them. So I've said if X is a person and there exists a Y such that Y loves them. Okay, I think that works. Then what I could say is there exists a Z, then there exists another variable Z, or that is not a Z, such that, I don't need that, such that Z loves X. Let's close up our parentheses. I think I may have overdone it with the parentheses. Have I? I think I needed an extra pair. I'm not seeing an. I think I may have overdone it. Have I? Whatever. We'll move on. We'll move on and then like just put. I think I need an extra pair like right here. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't mess that up. Hold on. I think that's correct. I think that's correct. Feel free to correct me. But yeah, we have covered right here that X is a person, and we've covered the whole part where there exists a Y that is a person and X loves them. Then there exists someone else, not Y or X. There exists a Z, such that Z loves X, and that's what is meant by is loved for himself means there's another person who loves them. Oh, and I guess what we should do is specify that Z is a person and Z loves X. That's what we really should do. Now so that means we're gonna need another parentheses to close this off. There you go. Okay, we have 3 more examples, and these last 2, you can see they're very similar, but there's some cleverness going on with pronoun antecedent agreement. But we're not there yet. We're at not everyone loves himself. Now, this is a simple one. There's actually, I think, 2 ways you could go about this. So the first thing that I think of is to just say everyone loves himself and then negate it, right? So the way to say that is for all X is a person, then X loves X, right? And then negate it. So that's exactly what we'll do. Say for all X, if X is a person, then X loves himself, right? That's the way to say everyone loves himself, but we want not everyone loves himself. So I could just say not. Another way to think of this is you might say, well, if not everyone loves himself, then that means that there exists a person who is a person and doesn't love themselves. So the way to write that symbolically would be there exists an X such that X is a person and X does not love themselves. So there's 2 ways you could say that. Those are there, right there. No, not one of them is more correct than the other. You could do either way. They're both equally correct. All right, now these last 2 I think are some pretty good examples to be careful of like your pronoun antecedent agreement, and then that'll close off this video of translations. So the sentence is, if anything is good and all good things are safe, then it is safe. Now, this pronoun right here, it, what is its antecedent? If anything is good and all good things are safe, then it is safe. The it refers to the anything back in the beginning. So this is important because this is telling us that when we define anything as X, the it is safe will be referring to that X. So let's start translating. So if anything is good, I'm thinking, okay, so like if we say for all X and X is good, for all X is good and all good things are safe, what we might say is then for all Y, if Y is a good thing, then Y is safe, then X is safe. I don't think that really made sense with me saying that out loud, so let's write it symbolically. For all X, if X is good, if anything is good, and then for all Y, If y is good, then y is safe. So that is our translation for if anything is good and all good things are safe. Then, okay, now what we want is another pair of parentheses. We want to do this. Then it is safe. That just means then x is safe. And we close off our parentheses. Now, the reason I did two examples that are very similar, right, is because on this next one, I say if anything is good and all good things are safe, then something is safe. Something is no longer the pronoun it, referring back to x. Something is something entirely new. It's not x, nor is it y. We have to introduce a new variable, z. So our symbolic translation for this first half of the sentence is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to say all x, if x is good, and for all y being good means that y is safe. And now we gotta close that off, yeah. Then there exists a z, because now I'm saying then something is safe. Now I want to say then there exists something new, z, such that z is safe. Z is safe. Then we close off our parentheses. So that was just to highlight these like really nitpicky important things that could screw you over in a translation that you have to be cautious of. You have to make sure everything agrees with everything. And that's why I recommend when you do a translation, don't just assume you're right. Make sure you go back, make sure your parentheses all close up and everything agrees with each other. You got to triple check these things. It's really tedious sometimes, but it's just what you got to do. But with that said, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you learned something.